Coming up on Valley View News, former inmates who are now students face an uphill battle getting an education and jobs. We'll take you to a club at Cal State Northridge that tries to make the transition easier. Plus, people take the use of their legs for granted. A festival in Santa Clarita shows how some people in wheelchairs stay active. And some children face challenges with developmental delays. We'll introduce you to a CSUN student helping children overcome just that.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Corinne Hafuda.
And I'm Cameron Parrish.
In March alone, there have been 3 reports about unexplained inmate deaths at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility. One of those deaths involved a CSUN senior. Valley View News reporter Lauren Turner-Dunn spoke to the family and friends of Quentin Thomas.
This was the McDonald's where Sahara White met LA County Sheriff Detective Jean Morse after she got a call regarding her daughter's father, who was at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility in Los Angeles.
Before I even sat down, I just asked if he was alive, and he was like, unfortunately, no.
22-year-old Quentin Thomas was found dead in a one-man cell on March 10th, 7 days after he was arrested. A few days later, Detective Morse told White the autopsy results.
He said that they found no natural cause of death, was his exact words.
Morse directed further questions to Lieutenant Rodney Moore, who says Thomas's death is an open investigation. The cause of death has not been determined. Thomas's body was found by custody personnel. Lawyer Roseanne Frazee is looking for answers about Thomas's death and arrest.
We don't even know why he was, quote, stopped in Van Nuys, and as a result, they found that there was a warrant for his arrest because he didn't show up for the domestic violence hearing.
Thomas was a health administration major at CSUN.
He wasn't out there trying to run the streets, like gangbanging or none of that, He was out there, like he was in his 4th year of college, like trying to be an RN, like he had it all planned out. He wanted to be a registered nurse.
Thomas was a foster youth since he was 16. Gina Gonzalez says the CSUN Educational Opportunity Program, also known as EOP, has a program for foster youth known as the Resilient Scholars Program.
His family was EOP and Resilient Scholars. That was the family that he had.
EOP has started a memorial fund for Thomas and his 1-year-old daughter. Sierra Ford was Thomas's mentor when he first got to CSUN. She explained his impact on campus.
He was going to change people's lives. I mean, he already did, for his short time here at CSUN. And I think that's what hurts, and his daughter's not going to be able to get to know him, and know the good person that he was.
The mystery still remains as to how Quentin Thomas died in prison. Meanwhile, his family and friends are still searching for answers. In Los Angeles, I'm Lauren Turner-Dunn for Valley View News.
A recent study found nearly 80% of California community colleges offer some support services for students who once served time behind bars.
And some 4-year universities like CSUN wouldn't have support programs for former inmates if it weren't for a few dedicated students.
Valley View News reporter Thomas Rodriguez is live to tell us about a club at CSUN where students are helping students.
Some CSUN students started a club called Revolutionary Scholars. It is a support system for students who are former inmates. One of their goals is to help with the transition from life in a jail cell to life on a college campus.
New resource center on campus.
CSUN students quickly found that starting a club for former inmates would not be so easy. Lily Gonzalez was locked up for 4 years for a nonviolent crime. She created a place on campus for students like her who were once caught up in the penal system. They needed a place to get academic support services. She helped organize the Revolutionary Scholars Club, but at first, the university was reluctant to help.
But at the time, maybe it was the stigma that comes with a formerly incarcerated student population that CSUN was like hands off. I don't know the reason. And so when I heard that, I felt very much like I didn't really belong on this campus, or if I did, it was in a very hush-hush way.
The Revolutionary Scholars Club has a small center. Students attend support meetings, get updates on classes available to them, or use the computer. UC Riverside professor Dylan Rodriguez has studied jails and prisons for 20 years. He says college can be difficult for students who once served time.
Some people have trouble getting housing. Some people are uncomfortable having to check the box, the proverbial box, around if they've been incarcerated, if they've been convicted of a felony, etc. Some folks have issues with financial aid, and then other folks just have issues with the kind of stigmatization on campus.
Diego Paniagua works at the club center located at the Chicano House. He's studying for his master's in Chicano studies. After getting his bachelor's degree, he realized his criminal record kept him from getting a good job. His past didn't go unnoticed.
I was under the assumption that education was going to be my way out, and my BA would speak volumes over my background, but my barriers happened after I got my BA, and my major was in humanities, so I was trying to work with a lot of schools, and schools wouldn't hire me.
Getting that good job is just one challenge. The barriers to academic success can be just as daunting, and many of the students have their own stories of struggle and perseverance. They want the campus community to know they can succeed against many odds.
That what it'll force all of us to do, including those of us who are teachers and professors and even administrators at universities and colleges, is understand that there's an ethical obligation for us to join formerly incarcerated people in challenging all of those societal boundaries that continue to kind of denigrate and undermine their capacity to just live life.
Revolutionary Scholars says it eventually wants to build a bridge between CSUN's campus and those who are currently behind bars. Live in Northridge, I'm Thomas Rodriguez for Valley View News.
Thank you. Vice President Mike Pence made a visit to the Southland. He first toured NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory Saturday, but was met with many protesters. He also hosted fundraising events in Malibu and Beverly Hills. Pence made another stop at the U.S.-Mexico border as well to end his trip. This is the Vice President's second U.S.-Mexico border visit. He made a trip to Texas border in February.
The Vice President's visit to the southern border came as a large group of Central American asylum seekers arrived at the border. Hundreds of families with small children hoping to be migrants gathered on the Mexican side. 50 families most in need were taken first to be processed inside the San Ysidro land port of entry. The families may end up in ICE detention centers after they're processed. Apparently, it's a chance most are willing to take. The migrants traveled thousands of miles from Central America hoping for a better chance and a safer life.
While North and South Korea met in hopes of ending the Korean War.
And President Trump welcomed French President Emmanuel Macron.
Here's Valley View's international reporter Marissa Martinez with more.
Thank you, Cameron. It's been more than 10 years since the two Koreas last met. Recently, the two met to negotiate the possible signing of a peace treaty to officially end the Korean War. They will also discuss denuclearization for the North. So far, they've settled on a deal to talk further. North Korean President Kim Jong-un said he'll abandon his nation's nuclear weapons program if the U.S. agrees to formally end the Korean War and promise not to invade. Also, Kim Jong-un claims he'll shut down its nuclear testing site in May. He's also inviting experts and journalists to watch the shutdown. Kim became the first North Korean leader to cross into South Korean territory since 1953. Meanwhile, South Korean leader Moon is set to travel to Washington in mid-May to brief President Trump on his meeting with Kim. Missile strikes in Syria killed at least 26 pro-government fighters. The strikes hit two military targets in Aleppo and Hama, where pro-government fighters were stationed. There's no official word on who carried it out, but evidence is pointing to Israel. The latest strikes come after tensions between Syria and Israel following the deadly April 9th incident in which Syrian military bases were struck. French President Emmanuel Macron visited Washington for his first official state visit. Lavish White House dinner was held along with a tree planting. The tree came from the Belleau wood forest in France. During World War I, 9,000 American Marines died in Belleau wood battle. The tiny oak tree mysteriously vanished after the dedication. A photographer took a picture of the area where the tree once stood. It showed only a pale yellow patch of grass in the place. But later, the White House explained that the tree had to be put in quarantine for a short time. Macron's visit was a chance to discuss climate change, the Iran nuclear deal, and the status of Jerusalem. France watchers say Macron is intent on improving his nation's image abroad. That's all for international news. I'm Marissa Martinez. Back to you in the studio.
A CSUN student is using her many years of professionally trained dancing to give back to children in her community. Valley View News reporter Tori Isaac tells us more.
A CSUN student has created her very own dance program that has gained popularity in her community. Janelle Braham, a public health major and professionally trained dancer, is teaching kids how to groove.
My program is called Groovy Movers, and it's designed to be a dance program for children ages 0 to 6 years old. So it's very simple, basic dance moves that we have the kids participate with, different songs they sing, just to help them develop motor skills and cognitive development.
Jamie Olivas is the Service Learning Coordinator at the Child Development Institute's Early Learning Center in Canoga Park. She explains how Braham's program benefits children with developmental delays.
We know that any type of movement stimulates brain development, oral language, so all areas of development are supported when you dance and move together.
Olivas says that there is no way the center could keep their doors open without the help of their talented volunteers, like Braham, who has been dancing for over 14 years. Groovy Movers is so popular, it will become one of the center's extended year-long programs.
Teaching kids new skills, teaching them how to exercise and have fun, have a good outlook on that, and spend their time doing something that they're learning instead of, sitting behind a screen or something like that.
Groovy Movers takes place every Tuesday at 2 p.m. at the CDI Learning Center. In Canoga Park, I'm Tori Isaac for Valley View News.
Still ahead, you might want to be careful next time you order some fast food. Too much fast food contains too much sodium.
Plus, if you've ever been to Dodger Stadium, you've sat in traffic. Well, a new proposal involves taking baseball fans to Chavez Ravine through the sky.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I came to CSUN to learn. I came to CSUN to grow. I came to CSUN to prepare. I learned to question, to answer, to encourage. I grew as a mentor, an ally, an advocate. I left CSUN prepared to uplift and embolden, prepared to challenge and inspire, prepared to teach.
I'm Rebecca Milwaukee, and I'm a Matador.
Some people with physical disabilities can face challenges staying physically fit. Our Valley View News reporter Ambar Rodriguez traveled to Santa Clarita to see how a few people on wheels stay active.
The World Health Organization says not getting enough physical activity is one of the leading risk factors for death worldwide. Dr. Terry Todd, director at the Center of Achievement through Adapted Physical Activity, explains how it can be difficult to get physical activity when dealing with a physical disability.
Well, physical activity is important for everyone, right? And it's no different if you have a physical disability. I think it's equally, maybe even more important in the way that it's maybe more difficult for people with physical disabilities to get physical activity as easily.
Triumph Foundation's annual Wheelchair Sports Festival is put on for those who are able and those who use wheels. The festival included several sports with adaptive equipment. Volunteer Walter Escamilla knows firsthand how being disabled can lead to a dark place.
I'm a paraplegic, complete, so I'm paralyzed from my waist down. I wasted 2 years of depression.
That's why he joined Triumph Foundation.
The best place is to be out there. We believe that exercise, physical activities is medicine.
If you want to learn more on Triumph Foundation, visit their website, triumph-foundation.org. In Santa Clarita, I'm Ambar Rodriguez for Valley View News.
The amount of sodium a person consumes each day can determine just what health problems they may face in the future. Valley View News reporter Shannon Osborne reports on a new partnership between CSUN and the City of Los Angeles that addresses the problem with sodium intake.
Sodium. It's in a lot of food, most commonly in the form of salt. Recently, LA County Department of Public Health partnered with the Maryland Magrim program to launch a sodium reduction initiative. Center Executive Director Dr. Annette Besnilian explains their goal for CSUN.
To help reduce the sodium intake all across campus.
Fast food is commonly known to be high in sodium.
The maximum amount of salt needed daily, this is like vial of salt. This is how much salt is needed daily. This is just an example from one burger that you purchase, just from one burger.
Besnilian says the center will be working with CSUN Dining to ensure food served meets low sodium standards. CSUN students are still gaining knowledge on the initiative. Sophomore Christopher Kobangbang so far believes it can work.
I think it's good because they want people to obviously become healthy.
Experts say too much sodium in a person's diet can lead to heart disease and stroke. Two main causes of death for residents in Los Angeles County. Reducing your sodium intake can help lower the risk of life-threatening illnesses. I'm Shannon Osborne in Northridge for Valley View News.
Dodging traffic? In less than 5 years, some Angelinos could be riding a gondola to catch a ball game with the boys in blue. A private company submitted plans for an aerial tram that connects Union Station and Dodger Stadium. The project is expected to ease traffic congestion in and around Chavez Ravine on game days, where traffic is notoriously bad. Meanwhile, the gondola would only take about 5 minutes. It'll transport more than 5,000 people per hour in each direction. The company says it'll obtain private financing for the $125 million project.
The NBA playoffs continue, but not with Steph Curry. Hopefully he can heal.
He's actually expected to come back soon.
Oh, really? Interesting. Well, here's Valley View News reporter Andreina Serrano. Tell me what's happening in sports.
I've got you. Welcome to the semifinals. Saturday, the Warriors blew out the Pelicans 123-101. Thompson and KD seem to be on fire, both putting upwards of 20 points, making Curry's absence almost unnoticeable. Emphasis on almost, Golden State's Golden Boy is expected to return to the court for Game 2. Also dominating in the Western Conference, the Rockets beat the Jazz 110-96. While the Western Conference has been a slam dunk, the East was late to the party. The Cavs finally made it to round 2 Sunday after their head-to-head battle with the Pistons. The Cavaliers will face the Raptors in the semis. As for the Celtics, they will be playing the 76ers. On the ice, 8 teams remain on the road to the Stanley Cup. The Knights, who took out the Kings in round 1, are now facing the Sharks. Although the Knights have been dominating, they lost to the Sharks 4-3 in Game 2 Saturday. Also in the West, the Predators tied the Jets in the series after their 5-4 win Sunday. In the East, the Capitals beat the Penguins 4-1, while the Bruins defeated the Lightning 6-2. The series is tied 1-1 all around. Everyone make way for the new guys on the field. The NFL draft is here. Over the weekend, we saw dreams come true for 256 individuals, among them quarterback Josh Allen. While Allen has been the talk of the town in the months leading up to the draft, resurfaced tweets changed the narrative. The Wyoming QB was put on blast the night before the draft when old racist tweets came to light. However, this didn't stop the Bills from trading up to draft him. Other notable drafts were UCLA's Josh Rosen with the Cardinals at 10th overall and FSU safety Derwin James with the LA Chargers. First overall was Baker Mayfield, who went to the Browns. That's it for sports. I'm Andreina Serrano.
Andreina, thank you. Coming up, a new way to watch movies. We'll take you to a local theater with the first 4K screen in the country.
And if you've ever used a genealogy website, how safe is your data? What officials are saying after a cold case was cracked using DNA from one such website.
I came to CSUN to learn. I came to CSUN to grow. I came to CSUN to prepare. I learned to ask, to analyze, to communicate. I grew as a writer, a thinker, a citizen. I left CSUN prepared to participate, prepared to contribute, prepared to lead.
Aloha, I'm Linda Lingle, and I'm a matador.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else? Or will you dare do something different? Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts? Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget. That'd be cool. Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself? What are you gonna make of me?
Our campus newspaper, the Sundial, has been working hard on all sorts of stories.
With what's coming up on the next issue, here's Editor-in-Chief Brandon Ilano.
One study says that employees are less likely to hire lower percentage of college graduates compared to 2017. Speaking of fast approaching, today was the last day to submit financial aid documents to Byramien Hall. Students waited for nearly 2.5 hours to make it to the front desk. We talked to students and employees at Byramien Hall. Thanks, guys.
The Samsung Corporation partnered with a local theater to unveil America's first LED screen. Pacific Theater's Winnetka debuted the screen last weekend. It's like a giant 4K TV in a movie theater. The new type of screen is called Onyx because of its true black picture quality. It's smaller than the typical projection screens used by most theaters. A projector isn't used to display the image. It also has a custom JBL sound system to enhance moviegoers' experience. It hasn't been said whether ticket prices will go up where the new screens are used.
Well, from the box office to the streets of Hollywood, I hear there's a new Marvel's Avengers movie that came out this weekend and hit the top of the box office, Tori.
It's really good. Have you seen it?
I have not, but I have plans on seeing it this weekend.
You have got to, and maybe on a 4K screen.
Well, hopefully that's how things are looking.
It's got to be the year of the superhero. Avengers Infinity War made history by earning $630 million worldwide its opening weekend. The film surpassed The Fate and the Furious' $542 million opening record, and it still has yet to screen in China. It cost around $400 million to make. The film has a massive cast that includes various superheroes throughout the Marvel Universe. Thor, Spider-Man, Black Widow, Doctor Strange, the King of Wakanda, and Gamora are just a few of many in the film. Avengers 4, the sequel, is expected to come out next year in the spring. Comedian Amy Schumer didn't let being hospitalized due to a kidney infection stop her from cracking jokes. Schumer shared a picture of herself on Instagram lying on a hospital bed hooked up to an IV. She's been hospitalized for 5 days, which caused her to miss the premiere of her new film, I Feel Pretty. She jokingly wrote, "I wanted to share with you this because this is sexy as hell, but mostly because I was meant to go to London." Don't think a kidney infection will stop her from feeling pretty. Crikey, mites. Sound familiar? It's been 12 years since the crocodile hunter Steve Irwin died. Now, the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce awarded the croc hunter his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for the television category. His widow and their 2 children attended the ceremony. His daughter Bindi choked up while giving her speech. Irwin's family said they want to keep his legacy alive forever. He wanted the folks down under to remember him for his passion and enthusiasm. So go ahead and throw some shrimps on the barbie and celebrate. That's all your entertainment news. I'm Tori Isaac.
People with autism often struggle expressing themselves in various ways. Valley View News contributor Natalia Vivino introduces us to the theater group in Beverly Hills that helps some with autism embrace who they are.
Every Tuesday night, a group of actors at the Wallace Annenberg Center rehearse for an original musical they created. It's for an inclusive theater program called The Miracle Project. It helps kids with autism embrace who they are.
It's taught me to be social, to be more social, to talk more, to actually be confident with myself.
Rehearsals are a collaborative process with the cast and creative team working together to create a show from scratch. The actors also vary in age and ability. This creates an environment not just for disabled kids, but for everyone.
I think the greatest compliment is when people say, I couldn't tell who has a disability and who doesn't, because we're an ensemble.
The musical is called 185 Wilshire, A Love Story. It's inspired by the cast's real-life experiences navigating different types of relationships. But what the show also does is emphasize the importance of staying true to yourself.
I think what's different at the Miracle Project
is that the students feel they're being heard.
As the kids get ready to put on their show, the Miracle Project proves once again that no matter your experience or abilities, theater is for everyone. In Beverly Hills for Valley View News, I'm Natalia Vivino.
Well, this should be interesting. Family members of the Golden State Killer could have had their civil rights violated.
That's so interesting. And two big cell phone companies are merging.
And I wonder what that means for the future of cell phones. Are we going to only have a limited amount of companies now?
And I hope the prices don't go up either.
Yeah, well, I guess Lauren Turner-Dunn, our social media health and tech reporter, has more. Lauren?
Thanks, Cameron. As technology improves, so do ways to track down criminals. That's certainly the case involving the Golden State Killer and how he was captured. After years of investigating, he was found 2 weeks ago, thanks to improved DNA searching. Police tracked down 72-year-old Joseph James D'Angelo through a private genealogy database that one of his relatives once submitted DNA to. Though the search was successful in finding a killer, the case raises questions about whether a person's private DNA search can be used in criminal investigations.
Right now, there are no protections. The problem is the expectation of privacy disappears when you're openly giving it to people.
This process is different because authorities didn't trace D'Angelo's DNA to make an arrest. Lawyers say D'Angelo's family members may have had their civil rights violated. After years of negotiations, T-Mobile and Sprint finally agreed to merge. The combined company would take on T-Mobile's name. The deal, if approved by regulators, would leave only two other major wireless carriers in the U.S., Verizon and AT&T. Sprint and T-Mobile first discussed a merger in 2014, but those plans were stalled after the Obama administration raised concerns. So far, the Trump administration has been tough on mergers in the communications industry. Some recent studies indicate that yoga could help reduce chronic lower back pain and improve functionality in older adults. By combining breathing exercises and physical postures, yoga will stretch your muscles and keep you limber. The National Institute on Aging has special tips for aging adults. First, make safety your top priority. And then, find a yoga instructor who understands your needs. Lastly, listen to your body. As with any exercise routine, check with your doctor before signing up for a yoga class. That's it for Social Media Health and Tech. I'm Lauren Turner-Dunn.
There was an emotional moment for a retiring Sarasota, Florida police officer as he said farewell on his last day.
The department shared a heartwarming video of Officer Andre Jenkins signing off on his final shift. It has since gone viral on Twitter and social media. Take a look.
I wish you all well and a safe tour of duty. It's 6106 Officer Andre Leroy Jenkins Jr. ID 1000. 10-7.
And with that, we sign off for the final time this semester. A special thanks to our fellow Valley View News team, our producers, and reporters, who are all champs. I'm Corinne Hafuda.
And I'm Cameron Parrish. Remember, for news any time of day, go to our website, sundial.csun.edu. Have a great summer.
Have a great one.